Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now, Bitcoin is starting to reject from my exact area of resistance that I've been warning about on the daily time frame, as the price is now resetting the RSI on the smaller time frames, which we need to pay attention to, while the price of Solana has just now confirmed a new warning signal in the short term, alongside XRP just now confirming the same short-term warning signal. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. So no matter what happens in the shorter term on the smaller time frames, just remember we're still within a much larger bull market if we're zooming out looking at the bigger picture. And on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, we still have a possible bearish divergence forming right now, but not currently confirmed. And on this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, what has already confirmed around a week ago, give or take, is of course a new bullish crossover in the 3-day Bitcoin MACD. And so what this tells us is technically we're starting to build more bullish momentum towards the upside. So remember, yes, we could see little cool-offs along the way on smaller time frames, but the trend and the momentum is still pointing in the bullish direction, especially on the larger time frames. And if we're taking a look at this 3-day Bitcoin price chart, technically speaking, this bullish breakout for this bullish cup and handle pattern is still currently active. It's still valid because this would only invalidate if we see a confirmed break with candle closes back below the point of the breakout here, back below this neckline, which is sitting at around 110,000. And so obviously, if we actually start confirming candle closes back below 110,000, especially on the 3-day time frame, then that would be bearish, at least in the short to mid-term. But for now, considering that's not happened, considering we're still well above that level, at least for now, we're still looking bullish. This breakout is still active with a technical price target at around $153,000 approximately. But remember, as I always say, even if we have a technical price target in play, we cannot ignore other levels of support and resistance where the price could possibly reject at or struggle at, for example, at resistance levels. And so obviously between the current price and that price target, we will find resistance along the way, as we have just seen over the last one day, where once again the price can struggle or reject from those resistance levels. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, the resistance level based on this 1618 Fibonacci extension level was sitting at around 121 to 122,000. So basically, I've been saying over the last few days, ever since this previous breakout at 112,000, I've been saying since then, expect to move into the low 120k range. So in between roughly 120k to 123k, around there. I've been saying that since all the way down here. And then I've been saying expect the price to struggle right here and possibly reject in the short term from that area. And obviously that is now exactly playing out as I've been predicting. And so remember, the price does not move in a straight line towards the upside or to the downside. We see often little pullbacks and bounces and things like that, basically going like this towards the upside. But at least for now, we're still within a bullish trend. We still have a lot of bullish momentum, and zooming out to the weekly time frame, once again, we're still in a larger bull market. And so if we're zooming further into the short term, of course, with this little rejection here on the daily time frame from this resistance, we are now cooling off in the RSI back down towards more neutral levels, which is actually good for the bullish trend because this is giving us more room towards the upside in the RSI. And obviously this is something that I've been talking about over the last couple of days here on the channel, because just a couple of days ago right here with this pump towards the upside up towards roughly 118 to 119,000, obviously we got extremely overbought in the 4-hour Bitcoin RSI, telling us we're due to see a little bit of a cool off, just a slowdown from the bullish price action to help to reset the RSI. And that's what we saw. We saw a slight reset, almost just out of overbought territories, giving us a little bit more room towards the upside. And then, as I said in my last video, we've just now used that room towards the upside, but we're back in overbought territories, telling us that we're now due to see another cool off coming soon. But now that this cool off is already starting to play out in the form of a slight little pullback here, once again, that is helping to reset the RSI. And so ultimately, maybe in a couple of days from now, we could continue the bullish trend later on, now that we have more room towards the upside again. And if we're taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, we can see that over the last few days, first of all, we took out this upside liquidity that was sitting above the price at that time at around 119 to 120,000, and that caused a slight little short squeeze here in the short term, as we could see. But then just over the last one day, we've actually pulled back down to a new level of liquidity that only just formed a matter of hours ago, and that was sitting at around 116 to 117,000, give or take. And so obviously now the price of Bitcoin has wiped out that liquidity. And so the levels of liquidity to watch out for right now, first of all, we do have a decent amount of liquidity starting to form at around 108,000, but keep in mind, between the current price and 108,000, we have a lot of support along the way, so it's unlikely that the price will will necessarily go towards that level, at least based on this chart alone. And so if we're looking at liquidity that's much closer towards the price, we can see we still have a small amount building at around 116,000. So it's possible we see maybe a little bit more of a dip towards roughly 116k just to complete that liquidity there. And then maybe we see some sort of bounce or a little recovery over the next couple of days now that we've reset the RSI. And then we do have a small amount of liquidity starting to build at the all-time high at just above 123,000, around 123.5k, which could likely be hit once we first play out a little bit of a cool off here. And then once again, maybe in a few days, most likely over the week, we'll see a recovery in the price of Bitcoin. And so those are my expectations in the somewhat shorter term. And of course, the long-term situation still in a larger bull market. And in case you're wondering, personally, I am still in my Bitcoin long position, trading this bullish breakout towards the upside, towards the technical price target. And like I said in my last video, my stop loss for that long position is already now sitting just above my entry price in some slight profits. So even in the worst case scenario, if the price just crashed for whatever reason, that would hit my stop loss and automatically close the trade in profits, even in the worst case scenario. And so if you haven't already, make sure you get set up ready to go on a crypto exchange to take advantage of these trading opportunities where you can make a lot of money in the crypto market. And personally, I'm taking that Bitcoin long position over on BTNX, so I'll make sure to leave a link to BTNX below this video in the description and in the pinned comment. And if you use that link, it will take you to this page right here where you can claim some massive trading bonuses. For example, you can actually get some deposit bonuses first of all. Like for example, if you deposit just $1,000, you get a $200 bonus into your BTNX account, which you can use to trade. So it's basically a risk-free trade if you're just using the $200 bonus by depositing $1,000. And then also you have trading bonuses where you can get up to $40,000 in bonuses for the larger traders out there. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway or preparing to take the next trading opportunity, you might as well get set up ready to go over on BTNX. First link below this video once again to take advantage of these major bonuses. And in case you're wondering, BTNX is a no KYC exchange, which means you can access it from basically any country in the world without needing any KYC. But as always, check your local regulations when it comes to trading crypto. And for whatever reason, if you don't want BTNX as an exchange, there's also 2bit as another option out there, another exchange that I also use. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below this video. And if you use that link, you can also get some massive trading bonuses over there. And in case you're wondering, 2bit is also a no KYC exchange. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance chart on the 3-day time frame, and we can see that right now this bearish divergence is still actively playing out. And so obviously, if you've been watching my videos over the last 1 week, give or take, I've been talking about this bearish divergence for the Bitcoin dominance chart, most likely going to result in a little bit more of a pullback in the coming days, weeks, if not months. Most likely a period of weeks, we'll see a little bit more of a pullback in the Bitcoin dominance. And what that means is a lot of the altcoins, especially the larger altcoins, could likely outperform Bitcoin. And so you might already notice that even if the Bitcoin dominance is having this pullback, some of the altcoins might, yes, pull back a little bit, but maybe not pull back as much as what Bitcoin is pulling back. Or if Bitcoin has a pump towards the upside, maybe some altcoins actually pump much more than what Bitcoin pumps. That's essentially what this Bitcoin dominance pullback means. It means Bitcoin is slightly losing market share, but it's not necessarily bearish for the price of Bitcoin against the US dollar. For example, the price of Bitcoin can still go towards the upside even if the Bitcoin dominance is bearish. It just means the altcoins are doing better than whatever Bitcoin is doing on average. And so in other words, this is actually pointing towards a possible altcoin season, basically already starting right now, as we can see. So keep that in mind. And with that being said, taking a look at Ethereum on the daily time frame, right now Ethereum is still struggling at the area of resistance I've been warning about for a while now on the channel, in between around 3,000 to 3050. So basically just above 3,000, we do have a decent amount of short-term resistance there based on previous resistance and also previous support in the price now acting as resistance. And if we see a continued breakout, ideally above 3050, in that situation would likely head up towards roughly 3250. So in between 3.2k to 3.3k as another area of resistance based on this Fibonacci level. And above that area, honestly, it's extremely likely we'll just return back up towards these highs that we set back near December 2024. And as for support to watch out for, we have this previous area of resistance now acting as new support, sitting in between around 2.7k to 2.8k. And clearly the price structure, the trend, the momentum is still pointing in the bullish direction on the daily time frame. So even if we see a little bit of a pullback or cool off or sideways consolidation in the short term, whatever happens in the immediate short term, especially for as long as we're holding above 2.7k to 2.8k, the trend is still looking bullish. And if we're taking a look at the 2-day Ethereum price chart, we still have a possible bearish divergence to watch out for, with higher highs forming in the price and lower highs forming in the RSI. But at least for now, that lower high is not yet actually confirmed in the 2-day Ethereum RSI, which means the bearish divergence is not currently confirmed. So it's something that's just forming on the chart, something to pay attention to, but once again, not currently confirmed, not actively playing out, at least not yet. And if we're taking a look at the Ethereum versus Bitcoin chart, ETH BTC on the daily time frame, we can see that right now, as of recording this video, the price of Ethereum versus Bitcoin is actually retesting this major area of resistance. And obviously, this is to do with the fact that we're seeing a little bit more of a pullback in the Bitcoin dominance, because if the Bitcoin dominance is pulling back, then altcoin pairs versus Bitcoin basically see a slight little bullish move. That's what we're seeing right now in the short term. But keep in mind, we're still only testing this area of resistance, which means there's still a risk of another rejection here. So just keep that in mind once again. But if we can finally confirm a breakout with ideally a daily candle close above this area, so above around 0.026 Bitcoin per Ethereum, if we confirm a breakout above that level, in that situation, that would be extremely bullish for ETH BTC, Ethereum versus Bitcoin, which basically means in real terms, Ethereum would be outperforming Bitcoin in that example. But remember, we've not yet confirmed a breakout. We're still waiting for that signal to actually confirm. So for now, we're still in the test phase. We just have to wait and see what happens here. And there's still currently a risk of another rejection. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the daily time frame, Solana is still struggling at my exact level of resistance that I've been warning about here on the channel for a long time, at around $167. But if we confirm a breakout, ideally with a daily candle close above 167, in that situation, we'll very likely see a move up towards around 180 to 185 as the next area of resistance. But once again, for now, we're still struggling at 167. And if we were to see a little bit more of a pullback here, expect support at around 155 to 156, give or take, and major support in between 143 to 146 if we actually make it back down there. And if we're zooming further into the short term, taking a look at the 8-hour Solana price chart, obviously we've already seen the breakout for this bullish cup and handle pattern, but right now, as of recording this video, we're seeing yet another retest of this previous line of resistance, the neckline now acting as new support, and that's sitting at around $158. So 158 is a key level to actually hold here in the short term, because if we see a confirmed break with candle closes back below 158, then that will technically invalidate this breakout here and invalidate this price pattern and the price target. And in case you're wondering, the technical price target for this bullish cup and handle pattern is still sitting at roughly around $194, give or take. So from the current price to 194, that's still over a 21% move towards the upside with no leverage, or for example, a 10x leverage long position would be over a 200% profit in that example. As always, not financial advice. But unlike the Bitcoin cup and handle pattern, where I've already entered a long position at this breakout here, I have not actually entered a long position for this Solana cup and handle pattern due to the fact that we have major resistance just above the price at 167. And of course, I've already been saying that ever since we saw this breakup for the cup and handle. I've been warning that I'll not necessarily open a long position straight away due to the fact that we have resistance here, and we could likely struggle or reject from around 167. And obviously, that's exactly what we are doing to the nearest dollar. And so I'd only really think about perhaps opening a long position for Solana if we first confirm a breakout, ideally above 167. As always, not financial advice. And if we're taking a look at the immediate short term, looking at the 4-hour time frame, Solana has just now confirmed a new bearish divergence, because we've now confirmed higher highs in the price in the candle closes and confirmed lower highs in the 4-hour Solana RSI. And so what this means is most likely over the next 1 or 2 days, just in the shorter term, we're most likely going to lack bullish momentum. So basically either pull back a little bit, not necessarily a major crash, but a slight pullback, or at best a bit of choppy sideways price action as the most likely outcomes, the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. But remember, this is only on the 4-hour time frame, so it will likely only play out just over a couple of days, give or take. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the daily time frame, XRP is also still struggling at just underneath $3. Obviously, the area of resistance that I've been warning about here on the channel was in between roughly $2.80 to $3. Ideally, I'd like to see a confirmed breakout with a daily candle close above $3 in order to expect a continued move towards the all-time high. And so that is still the resistance to focus on here in the short term, especially in between around $2.90 to $3. So basically just under $3. We have a lot of resistance around there. And as for support, I'd expect a lot of support in between $2.55 to $2.62 if the price price were to actually get back down there, and perhaps we could find some short-term support based on this previous resistance flipping into new support at roughly around $2.78, so close to $2.80, acting as a bit of short-term support. But overall, the larger trend and momentum for the price of XRP is technically still bullish. The price structure is still bullish, forming higher lows and higher highs. So yes, we can see little cool-offs and pullbacks in the short term, but remember, at least for now, the larger price structure is still currently bullish, technically speaking. And if we're zooming into the shorter term, taking a look at the 4-hour XRP price chart, just over the last one day, in fact, a matter of hours ago, we've just now confirmed a new bearish divergence, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs now confirmed in the 4-hour XRP RSI. And so exactly like what I just said for the price of Solana on the 4-hour time frame with this bearish divergence, this now means for the price of XRP that we're likely going to lack bullish momentum just for a couple of days or so. So once again, only in the immediate short term. This is only on the 4-hour time frame. It's not a long-term price pattern, but at least for now, we're most likely going to see either a slight little pullback in the short term or perhaps just some choppy sideways price action. Once again, just lacking bullish momentum, showing a bit of weakness in the immediate short term for a few days or so. And then perhaps later on, we could continue the bullish trend for the price of XRP, especially if Bitcoin and the rest of the altcoin market does the same. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the 12-hour time frame, Chainlink is just perfectly rejected from my exact Fibonacci level of resistance to the nearest cent, sitting at around $16.44, give or take. So I've been saying here on the channel, expect a lot of resistance in between $16.40 to $16.50, and we can see that that's exactly where the price rejected from. And now we've exactly retested the previous golden pocket area of resistance, currently acting as new support, sitting in between around $15.30 to $15.50. And so I'll now expect some support here, but if we were to see a confirmed break with a daily candle close, for example, back below around $15.30, in that situation, we could find some support around this local low at roughly around $15, but especially if we break below $15, we could likely retrace back down towards roughly $14.40 to $14.50. But at least for now, the larger price structure, the trends, the momentum on the 12-hour and the daily time frame is still technically bullish, despite the fact that we've just run into major resistance. Remember, the price does not move in a straight line. It's normal to see little pullbacks and cool-offs and rejections from resistance along the way towards the upside in the larger trend. And so those are still the exact levels of support and resistance to continue to focus on the 12-hour and the daily time frame. And if we're taking a look at the shorter term on the 4-hour time frame, like I've been saying throughout the video, Chainlink has also just now confirmed a new bearish divergence, with higher highs confirmed in the price in the candle closes and lower highs now confirmed in the 4-hour Chainlink RSI. And so what this means, as I've been saying throughout the video, is we're most likely going to see some weakness in the short term in the price of Chainlink, which means at best a bit of choppy sideways price action, or maybe just a little bit more of a pullback is a very likely outcome, the most common outcomes from a bearish divergence. And considering this is only on the 4-hour time frame, it will likely only play out over just a couple of days, a few days or so, and then most likely continue with the larger bullish trend, especially if the price structure is still looking bullish at that time. And so overall, those are my expectations in the shorter term and the slightly longer term, and all of the key levels to watch out for. And once again, if you want to trade any of these moves in the price of any crypto, check out the links below this video to those exchanges if you want to claim those massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And if you want to actually know how you can trade crypto no matter what the price is doing, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.